All right. Hopefully everybody can see the screen okay.
Looks good, Chelsea.
Looks good? All right, great. So hello, everybody. Thank you all so much for joining the first ever webinar hosted by Aryeo. We appreciate you taking the time to be with us during the holiday season and hope you find value in the information we'll be reviewing today. We are excited to kick off this webinar series, New at Aryeo, Built for You. And in this webinar and future webinars, we'll showcase the recent updates we've made and share our pro tips and tricks so you and your customers can get the most out of the Aryeo platform. We'll also leave some time at the end to give everyone who has joined today an opportunity to ask the support team questions and hang out live with us at the remainder of the session. So there's plenty of times to chat with us and get those questions answered. Couple housekeeping things before we get started. Everyone in the audience is on mute. However, we highly encourage the use of the chat feature if you have any questions along the way on any of the content that we're reviewing. We love questions, so keep them coming. We've got the whole support team on staff here to help grab those as they come in. And like I said, we'll spend some time at the end chatting through some of those as well. Last, we will be recording the webinar today too, and we'll be sharing a copy of the recording with those who registered following the webinar today. So keep an eye on your inbox in the next 24 hours or so, and you should see the recording come through. All right, so ahead of the presentation, we wanted to take a moment and introduce you all to the amazing customer support team here at Aryeo. We take a lot of pride in the level of support that our team has continuously proven to deliver. And to ensure that we continue to deliver top-notch support to our customers, I'm excited to share that our customer success team has grown. Meet the incredible support team at Aryeo is here to help you and your customers every step of the way. First, we'll start with Todd. Todd's all the way to the left. He's one of our customer support specialists. Todd lives in the Cape and has experience in the real estate industry, and he's also got a passion for problem solving. There's no challenge Todd can't handle, and he enjoys helping customers find creative solutions to their needs. Next, we have Siobhan, another customer support specialist on the team. Siobhan lives in South Boston and also comes from a real estate background. She has experience in event management where she learned a great deal about how to meet customers' needs, and she's super excited to be here to help get you and your customers up to speed and the most out of Aryeo. Both Todd and Siobhan have joined the team about a month ago, and we are so very fortunate to have them on board. And for those of you who I haven't met yet, I'm Chelsea. I joined the team back in July when we first launched 2.0 and have been working really hard since then to ensure that customers have a great experience with our customer support as well as our product. I've got 10 years in customer experience, and I previously before this was working at a digital marketing company for about 3.5 years. And prior to that, I was a residential interior designer. So I'm super excited to be where I am today. And my goal is to ensure that you and your customers have the best possible experience we can humanly provide on Aryeo. Cool, so that leads us to why we're here today. So as we mentioned, this is the first of our new webinar series, which we've officially kicked off today, and we'll be doing more of these in the future. But in today's session, we're going to cover the new Quickbooks integration. You asked for it, we delivered. Really excited to talk to you today about that new feature available. We made some improvements to the team notification settings, so it gives you more control over team member notification preferences. We've also added a new file delivery feature, which will allow you to upload PDFs and other documents to your listing. We've added a much needed feature for internal notes on orders and customer profiles, so I'm excited to take you through that. We have one more kind of section here where we'll go through some of the other updates that we think that you will also enjoy. Maybe not such a large, product feature release, but some things that customers have been asking for and we think you'll really like. And then one of the things that most everybody probably on this webinar is waiting for is, what about automated scheduling? We know that you're excited, and trust me, so are we. But we'll have a quick update on this upcoming feature. And last, we'll get to hang out with the support team at the end. Cool, so don't forget to drop those questions in the chat box as we go along. And I'm gonna kick it over to Brannick to talk to us about the Quickbooks integration.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Chelsea. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Let's see here. Okay, here we are. Can you guys see my screen all right?
Yes.
Perfect. So this was a much requested feature for a while, and that was to enable QuickBooks syncing between the Aryeo system and your accounting system with QuickBooks here. So hopefully you guys will find this beneficial. My internet's been kind of choppy too, so let me know if I cut out for some reason here as well. So to get started, I'm in my Aryeo app store, and to get your account connected, you guys will see a new QuickBooks setting here in your account. Now, I'm going to click this, and
We lost your screen share.
I think we lost Brannick.
Lost his screen and his audio.
Gotcha.
One moment. He did just say he was having bad internet problems.
Cool. In the meantime,
Well, it was just an excuse to check out and go shopping.
there's the jacket definitely.
Noel
Well,
said the jacket knocked his internet out.
in the meantime, Chelsea, I can hop in here
Thank you, Brendan.
and we can run through the demo quickly. Always good to have a backup on the webinar. Lovely. So as Brannick was alluding to, where you're going to want to start is by jumping over to the App Store in your left-hand sidebar. And let's see, actually, and you guys can see the screen, correct?
Yeah.
Cool. And so you'll see there's a QuickBooks tile here. And when you first get this set up, there's going to be, you won't see any of these settings options. There'll just be a enable QuickBooks account button here. Click that. That'll kick you over to QuickBooks. You'll log in and just authenticate your account there. And after that, you're all set. You're ready to go. Your account's connected. Now, there is there are a couple settings here that you're able to configure just to make sure that the sync between Aryeo and QuickBooks is really configured to your liking. And there's a handful of options that we'll go through right now. So the first is matching of your customers. And so this is something that you're going to want to do. It's a required element of the sync just to make sure that things match up properly between your QuickBooks customers and your Aryeo customers. So on this page, you're able to, we'll pull in your QuickBooks customers for you automatically. So in my demo account here, I just have one. I have Michael Fox sunk up. So let's match Michael Fox up to this demo agent I have in my account called Nancy Drew. And that's step one. There's a handful of other settings that you're able to configure as well that you can find over in the App Store, and I'll pop up here, such as matching of your products, and a few additional settings that will basically configure the options that are shown on the actual invoice in QuickBooks. The order settings and the match products are optional. It's the customers that you really want to take care of first, that we just demoed. But after this, you're pretty much all ready to go. Now, we'll obviously have this webinar sent out to you guys to go through these setup options, but we also have a support article here that walks through all these steps as well. And so we've kind of glazed over them pretty quickly here. But if you do need a refresher on what these settings do for you, if any of them are important, you can always check it out here. So with this setup, let's check out what happens and kind of how this actually comes together with the sync to QuickBooks. So as we took care of a couple minutes ago, I had let's see, Nancy Drew, I should have a customer for, maybe not, let's see. Actually, I'm going to, this is the guy I wanted to do myself. Okay, so I'm going to actually, so it's a good demo to show you guys how we can update this for any of our customers. So I actually, I've got a few duplicates of myself in here. So I'm syncing up this Michael Fox customer, which is in QuickBooks, to myself, the agent in my account. In reality, you'd probably have the customer name matching, but just for demo purposes, will show how this works. Okay. So if I come back,
That's the only required step too for this feature.
Yep.
You just need to go through and match your customers that you have in Aryeo with the customers that you have in QuickBooks. Then we can know who to associate your guys' invoices with you when we do that part of this sync.
it's the wrong customer. Let's see here. All righty, folks. Now we're ready to go. Great. Okay. So this is a customer, myself, that we have sunk up to QuickBooks already. And so what this will enable us to do, as mentioned, is sync this directly to an invoice in your QuickBooks account. And so we'll skip over a few steps that you may typically go through with one of your customers that would include uploading content and delivering this to that customer. But in reality, what's going to happen is all you have to do is deliver that order, and this is going to be sunk automatically upon payment by that customer. And I'm going to show this by manually syncing this invoice right now. So
and just to clarify that point there's a couple ways that this works. The main goal of this integration is just to alleviate any manual time of you having to make invoices and connect products in QuickBooks, so that when one of your customers pays you through Aryeo and that payment goes through, we'll automatically make that invoice for you in your QuickBooks account. And that's what Brendan's showing here. You can also manually send an invoice over to QuickBooks, and we'll send it over. We'll connect that customer automatically, and you can also connect all of your products. So I know a lot of people will do end of the year reporting. You're probably going through that right now. Maybe you want to see which products were ordered the most throughout the year. That's a great way to keep track of that in your QuickBooks if you're syncing things up, and you can kind of see how some of those changes happen throughout the year.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can see right here, this is our most recent invoice that was sunk, 12/29/2020. Michael Fox, that was the customer that I'd matched up with myself on that settings page, and it pops right in here to your QuickBooks account. And as Brannick alluded to, when that payment is made by your customer, that payment will also be sunk and matched up to this invoice for you. So really the goal of this invoice was to cut down on that duplication of line items between your Aryeo invoices and your invoices in QuickBooks, duplication of payments, duplication of a lot of that customer data, really try to make it seamless so that your accounting can just build right off of the transactions that are being taken care of in Aryeo, and there's no added work for you. It's all just seamlessly taken care of. So there is that kind of step that you need at the beginning to set up your customers and kind of tweak any settings that you may like. But once that's good to go, it's handled all automatically for you.
And I will note too, the sync only happens after payment's been made unless you manually do it. So I know a lot of people will make changes to their order and whatnot. So that those won't be synced until you actually pay. Looks like we got a question here. If they paid via QuickBooks, does it show as paid in Aryeo? No, it does not. We've been looking at supporting that. So this works alongside the Stripe integration that we already have. So if you're using the Stripe integration, this works seamlessly with that, where people will keep paying you through the Stripe portal as normal, and then that payment will flow to QuickBooks automatically with the invoice. We found that set up to work pretty well. Stripe's been pretty user-friendly for a lot of people on accepting payments, but we are looking at maybe adding on to this integration further down the road.
Mm-hmm. So if I had, and one more thing I wanted to show here is if we had, let's see, I have to add a order with
dollar value.
A dollar value. Getting caught up by my own system. Okay, perfect. Alrighty. So if this is the download center that would be shared with your customers on that delivery email. If your customer pays directly here, that manual sync that we demoed in the actual order edit page will all be taken care of automatically. So you don't have to touch any of that. That's a manual override that we provide you guys for, say, some of your past orders that have already been paid for, anything that you'd like to manually sync up. But really, this will just automatically be taken care of upon payment by one of your customers.
And for people maybe that aren't familiar with our payment system, this is something you can enable in your app store through Stripe, and this will let you lock off downloads. until your customers pay you. So this QuickBooks integration is really just an addition to that. So, you know, your property is locked off, they'll go through the payment portal. It's pretty seamless. As soon as they pay, they get to download it, and that invoice gets sent to you in QuickBooks and everything else that you need.
Yep. Fantastic.
Any other quick questions that we have? Feel free to toss them in the chat, or you can unmute yourself quickly too if there's anything about QuickBooks in particular.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Brendan skipped over it a bit, but there are a handful of settings. If you go into that app store and under order settings, that'll let you kind of customize how things sync exactly with QuickBooks. I know there's some accounting details. One thing we wanted to make sure we did with this was not break anything in anyone's books. So we did a pretty good job of just making sure the defaults work out of the box. It'll just add things in there, and you can kind of tweak the settings to however you do your accounting for your business.
Absolutely. Fantastic. All righty.
Cool.
With that, I'll toss it back to you, Chelsea, and we can also, any other questions that you guys think of over the next half an hour or so, happy to address at the end as well.
Awesome. Thank you guys. Appreciate you going over that with us. Oh, my mouse is being crazy. Sorry. But yeah, if any questions come up, maybe you didn't feel the need to ask them right then and now, we definitely want to hear about them later on. So place those questions in the chat box, and we are happy to answer anything that comes up. All right, so now that we've covered QuickBooks, let's dive into team notifications. So before this update, all members of your team on Aryeo would receive updates and orders, for appointments, and that included notifications for when new orders were placed through your company's order form, or when a new appointment was scheduled, rescheduled, or canceled. This unfortunately proved to be a pain point for large teams, as team members may be included on notifications that aren't quite relevant for their day-to-day work. So we're happy to announce a major overhaul of the notification system on Aryeo, putting you in total control of over who receives which notifications on your team. And for each notification type found in the notifications page of your settings, which we'll go see in just a second, you'll be able to specify which team members you would like subscribed to each of those notification settings. Let me hop out of the presentation and head over here. All right, so in your account settings, you have the option to, if you're adding a new team member for the first time, you can set up those notification settings right here in the team member setup process. When you click add a new team member, just like you normally would, you plug in their first name, their last name, their email address, and then down here you can toggle on which settings they'd like to receive and which ones they don't need to be made aware of. So that's if you're adding a new team member, but if you already have team members on your account that you'd like to go back and update their notifications, we'll head on over to the notification section in your account, and then you'll see each of the sections is broken down by the different notification, and then all of the team members who we want to receive it. So when an order is received, maybe I don't need my whole team member crew to know that that order has been received. Maybe I only want them to be notified if it's an order that they are going to be assigned to the appointment for. So in that case, I can leave everybody else unchecked, and then maybe just leave my team admin assigned here to be notified when a new order is placed. Same thing for appointments scheduled. So by default, team members who are assigned to an appointment are always going to receive a notification when that appointment is scheduled. But here you can also update who on your team receives this notification as well. So maybe it's, again, like your scheduler, your transaction quarter, maybe a team member who needs to kind of be in the know of everything. You have a little bit more control over your appointments notifications as well. Cool. So I hope that was helpful. I know a lot of team members have been very excited about those notification settings. So we hope that that will help streamline your workflows and make that process a little bit easier moving forward. Cool. All right. So internal notes, another really exciting feature that we just recently released. Long awaited, this quality of life improvement allows internal notes to be saved for both customers and orders. So these notes are private to your team, allowing for better collaboration and shared information regarding a customer or for an upcoming appointment or order. So there's a couple different places where this can happen. These notes are viewable in a few different locations throughout the system, which is the order edit page, the customer edit page, and then the listing edit page. So let's hop over into the demo again, and I'll show you where you can find those. All right, so first things first, if I'm creating a listing, I can open up my listing. And for this one, I've already added an order to it. But if I go to view that order on the listing, you'll see now there's a new section called Add Internal Notes, and it's private. So that will be located right below your order items. And if you click that, you can add any notes here that you would like. And again, this is only viewable to yourself and your team members. Oh, I can't spell. Cool. You can add that note, and then anybody else who is on this appointment and order will be able to see that note as well. Now you can also see up here on my customer, there's a little kind of chat notification or an icon up there, which also indicates that this team member has a note on them. So if I open up or click on that little message icon there, I can see what that note for that customer says. Additionally, if you wanted to add notes to your customers, the way to do that would be over here in your customer center. Just simply open up any of your customers, scroll down past the information fields, and you'll see a new section called Internal Customer Notes. So again, this is a place where you can leave notes about your customer that will be viewable through the rest for the rest of your team, but private, so your customers can't see those. And then back on the listing page, once we're there, you can then see that you've got notes on both your order and your customer. Cool. All right, cool. So we hope that feature makes internal communication for your team more seamless, and we are always looking for ways to improve your workflow. So thank you for that feedback. And if there's any more feedback there that would be helpful for us to know, definitely feel free to share that with us. All right, up next, we have file delivery, another long-awaited feature, but you can now upload whatever file you'd like to a listing in Aryeo. This is excellent for keeping track of additional files for you or your client may need for a listing. And virtually all types of files are supported. So this is great for including PDFs or documents for content for a listing. I've even seen people upload like CAD and PSD files. So with limited access to homes these days, digital content is so important. And these reports just help build out an easier way to deliver all of the listing content needs in one single place. And the file section should make managing these types of resources in one place even easier for you and your client. All right, so some other updates we think that you will enjoy. We have been working really hard on both large and small features to improve the overall customer experience on Aryeo, but let's review some of the smaller features we also think you'll enjoy. Starting with image download file name conventions. So we're excited to announce a new configuration option for file download naming conventions, located again in your account settings in the download settings section. And by default, how you've been using it pretty much this whole time, the Aryeo system will add the order and the type of image to the file name after downloading. That basically preserves the file name and arrangement the way that that the system kind of captures it and creates them. However, you can now choose to use the original file name, which will preserve the file name that you've uploaded the content as well as the arrangement that they were uploaded in. Now, with this setting, you're able to override the default using only the original file name, like I said, that your images were uploaded with. We always still recommend going with the Aryeo one, but in the off chance that you might need to or want to use an original file name, that option is now available to you. Cool. So a couple more quick updates. We have updated the default realtor and equal housing URL logos to grayscale, so they work on both white and black themes for property websites. Another kind of small but quick win was we had Sense displaying on the property prices on property websites. However, call me crazy, but I have yet to come across a property that was $500,000.99. So we have removed that field and it looks much cleaner on the website now. And speaking of updates to the property details section, we've also updated the details section of property websites to include the MLS number of the property if it's available. We've got some more updates coming there soon, but that was one of the major things that we wanted to make sure we had available for our customers, so we could be compliant with the MLS and keep consistent with all of the marketing materials that the agents and you are providing. And then last, you may have noticed some updates to the image captioning system if you use that at all. But we've improved the workflow to the image captioning system for quicker and easier image captions. So rearranging some of the order that they appeared in, tightening up the ability to tab through to the next one, just hopefully increases the speed of that workflow in that section there. Okay, what you've all been waiting for. I'm going to hand it back over to Brannick to talk to us a little bit about automated scheduling.
Okay, thank you, Chelsea. So this is by no means a full or proper demo, but just a sneak preview of some of the things we've been working on. So this has been requested for a while, and it's going to be a full and proper scheduling system built for real estate photographers. Here's a couple of the features that we've been working on so far. So off the bat, obviously, is real-time calendar availabilities, and that's just real-time syncing with your appointments on your calendar. We've also been working on some more sophisticated features such as geolocation, properly dispatching orders to people on your team depending on which products they service, and also making this work really well for teams of 1 and going all the way up to teams of 1,000+ photographers, which I don't think anyone's quite that big, but there's definitely some big teams out there that we think this will work really great for. So let me just share my screen here. I'm going to give kind of a sneak peek, and we're going to do a couple other sessions on some particulars here over the next month, but let's see here off the bat. So I've got a blank order form for you guys to see, and this is our current order form in the system, so it should look pretty familiar to you. Now I'm just going to go in and enter in an address for a property. Let's see here. And then I go through my normal step 2, and I've got a few sample products in here. So this first one, HDR photography, I'm going to select that. And I have it set up in the system as where I'm the only provider of this, along with Brendan as well. So if we click to step 3 then, the scheduling step, you'll see that this is a preview of the new automated scheduling system. And previously it asked customers for their preferred dates and times, but now what it's doing is pulling in your real-time availability across your team, presenting slots to your customers based on duration and the appointments as well. So under this mode that I have set up, I let people choose who on the team they want to book with, but we also have modes for dispatching across your entire team automatically, or priorities or zone-based, really whatever you have set up for your business, it should work perfectly for. So if I click myself here, and maybe I'll look for availability on the 31st, you can see these are some of the time slots that I have available. The system knows how long that appointment takes. Even if you combine it with other services, it knows how long that new duration is. And from there, it will automatically split this up. And to kind of show you another piece of this, if I go back, let's say I have someone on my team that does a drone and I just focus on the photography. This seems to be a pretty common setup and one that leads to a lot of complications in scheduling. So if I add drone video, the system will know that, hey, I do the photography. We have someone else that does drone. And when I go to that next step now, it'll automatically break that up into 2 appointments and request your customer to schedule each appointment based on the real-time availabilities of whoever in your team does each one of those services. So we think that's kind of a nice little feature there for those of you that do have that split up The default of the system, though, will be to put into as many minimum appointments as possible. So obviously the best case is to do everything in one appointment, but if that's not possible, it will split it up. So we've got a lot of other features kind of around this that are planned, things around just geolocation, radiuses, including taxes automatically, properly associating each team member with this, and kind of all of the works that are involved with scheduling. It's something we've been working on for the last really 3 or 4 months here after launching 2.0. So we're hoping to roll out a beta here in January for customers. I know we've got a lot of you that have already expressed interest in this. We're going to send out more over email as we get a little bit closer to that on a few kind of final tweaks. And, we'd love everyone's input on what we can do to make this as great as possible. And I think at the end of the day, we're going to make this extremely customizable. We know everyone sets things up a little bit differently, and we're going to make the system work for you and for your business. So hopefully that's a good kind of sneak peek at what we've been working on, and we're excited to get it out there for everyone. I'm happy to kind of field any questions on scheduling overall as well, if anyone has any. It's definitely not the intent of this. I know that scheduling we could probably talk about for many hours on end, but for us, we've been basing a lot of it off of Acuity and other systems out there, but putting kind of more of a real estate specific twist on it and taking into account all those things that photographers have to deal with, like changing sunset times, scheduling twilight separately, whether or not you let people book with specific photographers on your team, auto calculating travel fees. And ultimately our hope here is to give each one of your businesses just one order form that will solve everything with that, especially if you operate in multiple cities, which we really think will streamline the process for everyone. Perfect. And with that too is coming a new Google Calendar sync along with any calendar system. Right now, if you're using it in the App Store, there's a slight delay from when appointments get made and when they appear on your calendar. And going forward, those are going to be done in real time and they'll sync both ways. So if someone changes something on Google, that'll sync back with the system and everything, which will be a great way to kind of manage it all. Let's see here. We got a couple questions. Travel time between shoot locations. Yes, that is auto-calculated. So we have standard features around setting your own buffer times. And then we're also adding in a geo-aware feature where it will calculate how long you have to drive and appropriately split that up between your appointments in real time, which should be really helpful for those of you that are bouncing around to different parts of the city and maybe are accounting traffic at different durations. Let's see. Anyone else, any questions on that? We'd love to get rid of Acuity and Square and kind of all of those features as well, just to really streamline the process. So if we can make it easy for you, your customers, just put it in one place. I think that's the great thing. Can you export orders into Excel? That's a great question. We haven't added that functionality yet. Our team is able to support exports manually though. I know some people have been requesting us, especially towards the end of the year. So if you do need a report or something, we are able to support a handful manually with our support team. So just reach out. We'll let you know what we can do there to get you access to your information. On the order form, I saw it automatically generates the address from Google Maps. Is there a way to set up the order form without Google Maps? Yes, this has been a tricky problem to solve for a lot of people. We are building a mode specifically for addresses that do not exist on Google. So that will let your customers kind of drop a pin so we know where it is, and it'll kind of make that easier because there are a lot of properties, especially the new constructions, that have been a problem in just making that easy for people to get into the system. Thank you for the questions there, Annie and Larry and Dave. Let's see, I think Chelsea, you might have one more slide. We've got a couple more things coming in.
All right, cool. So yes, any more questions on automated scheduling too, feel free to keep dropping those in the chat, and we've got some time at the end, so we're happy to continue chatting through some of those. But I hope the information that we have just reviewed with you is super helpful for you and your team. And if you haven't kind of picked up on this already, but customer feedback is very important to us. So if you haven't checked out our feature request dashboard, I recommend taking a look later today. We really care about what customers have to say, and we're committed to learning from their input. So this has been a great driver for a lot of our new features. And in fact, all of the features we discussed today were ideas brought to us by customers. So we love this dashboard. We look at it quite regularly and encourage the use of it when applicable.
And you can always access that just right in your account. There's that
Yep.
button on the sidebar. So definitely click through, add everything. Judy asked a question here. If I have a Word document with room measurements, how do I attach that to Aryeo? You can now do that with our file upload functionality. So Chelsea talked about that a little bit at the beginning here, but within a property now, just like you add images or 3D content, you can add a section for files, and that's where you're able to upload all of the files, any type of file, whether it's a Word doc or anything else, and then your customers will be able to download those. And Jack, and for everyone else, anyone that joined towards the tail end here, one, this video will be sent out to everyone, so the recording, so you can go back and watch it. And we also send out newsletters with all the feature updates. So keep an eye out for those, along with kind of updates in our system internally through Intercom and in Canny and a couple other places that have all the list of features as they do come out.
Yeah, so now that excuse me, that concludes all we had for slides and demos and presentations. But would love to turn it over to the audience. Allow you guys to ask us any questions you may have, share some feedback, suggest features you'd like to be implemented. However you want to spend this time, you've got all of us kind of on this webinar one-on-one. So definitely feel free to utilize all of us while we're here.
Yes, thank you, Chelsea, for putting this together, and Siobhan and everyone else. And I think Chelsea has a poll too that she might put up on your screens here.
Yes, let me do that right now.
Perfect. Otherwise, if that answered everything, feel free to jump, but we're happy to stay on and kind of talk and answer any questions you may have.
Stop the share for a second. Cool. All right. Awesome. So that poll should have just popped up on your screen. It's just a quick little, I think, 4-question survey to help us go through anything there. But yeah, if there's no other questions, as Brandon said, you are all free to go. Zane, if you want to unmute yourself, I think you should be able to do that, and we're happy to chat.
Yeah, hey, I was just curious about, if I'm offering to get clients, for example, and I'm giving them a half off of a shoot and they book online, how am I going to give them a discount after the fact, so to speak?
Great question. So on your order, they'll fill it out. It'll come up to be that full price, but later on when you're uploading your content, on the order itself, there's a custom item option. And if you click on that custom item, you can create a discount right there. So just do the negative price for whatever the discount you're offering is. So let's say it's $100 off.
Also, you may have to share your screen.
Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. Thank you. I got all excited. Let me start over here so you can see what I'm doing. But on the order, after it was placed, there is a button called the custom item. And if you click on that, you can add the item name, which is just, discount, call it what you want. Your item price is going to be a negative dollar value so that it actually takes the discount off, and then your quantity. So once we add that, my total will be adjusted down to $375 now.
We are also working on a coupon feature that would let your customers enter in a coupon code on that order form.
Thanks,
So
guys.
that's good. Yeah.
Great question, Zane. Thank you.
Hello, hello.
Hey, Larry.
Hi there. Hey, I oftentimes when I get a booking, they will say they just want photos, and I try to line everything up in Aryeo ahead of time. I get to the shoot, they decide at the shoot that they want a floor plan, they want this and that and the other thing added to it. So I get back, I add it to the listing that's been created, but I can't rearrange the order of things in the listing. So what happens is I'll get on the website, like the floor plan will appear clear at the bottom instead of being able to shift it up somewhere. Make sense?
Yep. I know exactly what you're talking about. So like on the listings page, if you were to add something after the fact, it always
Yep.
gets put at the bottom and there's not a way to rearrange the order that they appear.
Right. Is there an option to change that up?
At this time, no. I'm not sure if we have plans. Brannick, maybe you can touch a little bit on that, but is there any plans to make the listing page and the sections editable as far as rearranging their orders?
There is. It's on our timeline. I
Mhm.
do have a quick fix for people that do want to kind of slightly adjust that, at least on the property website. You can actually open up that property website section, and if you expand it, there's a delete button at the bottom of that section. You can remove it and then add it back. And when it adds it back, it'll add it back to the bottom there. So everything should be in the proper order for you on that property website. It'll just go in and rebuild those sites. It should keep the links the same as well. So that's
Yeah.
probably the quickest fix right now. And we've got it in our canny log, I believe, as well, to allow
Yeah.
rearrangement of those
All right.
sections.
The other question on that is sometimes because of weather, I can't fly, but I can do the shoot and they want those photos. So I'll go back 4 days or a week later when the weather's good, I'll fly it. I upload those. How does the billing work? How does that happen when I add that in? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if they hadn't already, selected the drone or video footage on the original order, you can always come back on any listing and add a second order.
All right.
Yep.
Just
And
add
I believe
it.
Michael asked this.
Okay. Sorry.
I think Michael asked this same question in the chat as well. And usually this is the easiest way to handle this situation, where if someone already paid for that first order and maybe you're going back and doing a second thing, you could technically adjust that first order, but to keep things clean, especially if you're syncing with QuickBooks, I'd recommend just adding on a new order for those additional services that happen after a payment. If they hadn't paid though, you can obviously just adjust that original order with the new line items, whatever you need, and then it'll all go together.
So just add the order to the existing listing and reshare, and then they've got to pay to get the extra thing. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Now, Larry, one thing I will add on your first point is on the property website itself, you are able to drag and rearrange the sections at any time. So in terms of how the actual website presents itself, you don't necessarily need to rearrange any of the sections on the actual listing edit page there. You can see those little that little icon to the left of each of the titles there. Those can be dragged around any time, and you can rearrange the hero and the property details and the floor plans to configure that however you'd like, and that won't change the order on the listing edit page that you see there.
Oh, now, whoa! What am I looking at there on the left? That does not look familiar to me.
This is the property website editor.
Oh, sure. I thought I saw it all, and all of a sudden I'm like, where's that?
Surprise.
Yeah. So where is that?
So on the property website section on your listing page. If you
Oh,
click on
yeah. Gotcha. I'm with you.
purple
Now.
editor button.
And you're able to change everything there, from colors to sections to text.
Yeah, right. Okay, yeah. I'm sorry. I was, I'm waking up here.
No worries. It's like the holiday week. Nobody knows what we're doing between New Year's and Christmas.
That makes sense. So, okay, got it. Whew. Scare myself.
No worries. Appreciate the questions, Larry. Thank you. Let's see.
Hi, I have a question.
Hey, Steven.
So, we're just kind of like looking into the company, and we kind of like everything that we saw. But I just had a question. When we have an editing team, are we able to set them up as like a user, like a team member, and then only give them access to upload, or how would that work?
Yes, it's a good question. Right now, they can be added as a general team member, so they would get access to more than just editing. We've been looking at either adding permissions or a more dedicated view just to editors, just to drop files onto properties. It's actually something we'd love to hear a little bit more about too, and see some use cases, because we've been playing around with a couple different options for that, whether a more in-depth Dropbox integration or a few other things there that should streamline it. Usually we'll have people either have their editors just drop things into a Dropbox folder, though. Seems to be how most editors overseas send things anyways. And then they can, with our Dropbox integration, your team or someone can just add them into the property instantly.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Of course. It looks like Brady and Jenny had a question. I don't know if we covered this already, but they asked, can we add the listings county to the order form?
That is a good question. I'm curious, is that for sales tax reasons based on the county calculation? I don't know. If,
Yes.
Yes, it is. Okay. We'll do one better there. We've been looking at integrations with TaxJar and a couple other services or internal just to auto sync it based on that location of the property if you want to enable that in your account. So we'll make a note of that here and in Canny perhaps, so that as we work a little bit more on that feature, we can make sure we reach out and it works for you. I think, our ideal goal would be to just take care of it automatically, so you don't have to go in and automatically or manually do anything. Interesting. You guys price the shoots by the county. That's something I haven't heard of before, I'll be honest. I'd love to hear a little bit about how that works, whether that's like a combo with a travel fee or just different pricing based on counties and whatnot. So I'll jot down a note here to follow up after. And I'd love to hear a bit more about it.
I'd like to hear about that too, because we do some things with just county that I'd like to hear a little bit about that too, if you could. We do signpost installation, but we do it by county. So if we could bill by county, or if they can put in the county, that would be awesome.
Do you mean that you only offer that service in certain county areas?
We charge by county area. Like we don't go every county around us, but pretty close. So, but we charge per county.
Okay, interesting. One thing that we're going to be adding to this automated scheduling system is automatic travel fees, which will calculate it based on where the one person is and to where they have to go, based on a couple of settings, usually by just distance, obviously, and like a per mile fee. I don't know if that would be applicable there to your setup, or do you really just have like a completely different price across different county areas?
We just charge like not really just off each county. So like our Gwinnett County nearest is like Frederick County, say 65. Franklin County would be like 55, and that's just for our signpost services. Our photography is just set rate, and then you got mileage.
Sure. Very interesting. Okay. I'll have to look into that a bit and talk with our team on what would be the best setup there.
Great
I'm
question.
curious, does anyone else on the call price things by county?
I do, but it's just strictly for trip fees. So if you had it built in the other way, then that would work just fine as well. So it's a workaround.
Yep. Yeah, that seems to be usually the most common case that we see, is just those travel fees and keeping track of that. And Brady and Jenny, yes, we can definitely talk offline for sure and dive in more specifically on what your guys' setup is.
The other question I had was, we have some brokerage deals, and is there a way to I guess like for each agent, almost like a code that you can code each agent to a brokerage? Because we do some brokerages that get billing like once a month, not necessarily each agent. Is there a way of doing that? And if you already showed that, I missed it. I'm sorry.
Yes, that's a good question. Right now, we don't have any like bulk grouping of invoices. It's something we've been thinking about. Technically, anyone can kind of pay these invoices though as well. So we know we have some teams that will take those invoice links and just send them to maybe a person at their brokerage or someone on their team that pays for it if they have other people doing it. It's kind of the current workaround for a lot of places.
Is there a back way of like, because right now we do our invoicing through QuickBooks, which is, it's nice, but it's a pain because you don't get paid right away. But when we do it, these brokerages, is there a way that we could just pull like our report through QuickBooks and just send that brokerage out? Is there a way to attach them to the brokerage?
Yes, actually, with our new QuickBooks integration, we could probably set up something there for you where you connect each one of your customers to that brokerage's account in your QuickBooks. I could kind of walk you through what that would look like. It'd be a little bit different than what is out of the box, but it would definitely support it. So then you could kind of send one invoice for a lot of orders, I think.
Okay, that'd be cool.
Yeah. We can jump on a call too, Stephen, and dive through some of those things in the county situation just to figure out what would work well for that. I think with QuickBooks Edition, it's going to be pretty robust, hopefully.
Okay.
Cool. And then Michael Lewis had a quick question about an address always needing to be attached to a collection. Tried adding a custom property title, but it always requests the address field to be filled out as well. So I just wanted to walk through quickly how to update that. So it's not always showing the address, and rather maybe it's like the name of a facility, a community, something like that. So if you click into your listing, oh, am I sharing my screen? Yes, okay. Click into your listing and then click on the address option up at the top banner. You'll want to skip the autocomplete section here. And then down here, there's two ways you can do it. You can either remove all of this information and just call it hitting the wrong button, sorry. So, oh, I left the zip code in there, but that's one way to do it, is just like remove all the information from the address section in the manual override piece. The other thing that you can do is in the property details, instead of going through all of that, there's a custom property name down here. So we could call it, and when we save it there, it didn't update right here, but when we go to the website, you'll see it's up there, custom property name. So there's two places where you would want to kind of remove those addresses, but it can be done so that it's not tied or displaying an address anywhere.
Chelsea, could you show the Facebook share button at the top there quick? I know someone was asking about
Yeah.
that. We do have this share button already, along with a number of social media sites that just make it easy for quick sharing. And we're looking at, we have the coming soon there for the more in-depth integrations to connect more of a, post automatically on your page kind of deal, which is probably going to be more end of Q1, early Q2 here for us.
Yeah, this is really great way for your customers to kind of promote the branded property website that you're delivering to them directly on their Facebook page, whether it's their own personal page or they have a business page. Either one will pull in, and they'll be able to just create a quick little post right from in the app, and it will link them directly to the branded property website. Whoa. Sir, can you share? Yes, you can. When you are going to share, I think you can swap. I've done this before. Sorry. Bear with me. Yeah, right down here.
You should be able to select that page there, and it'll let you choose where you want to post it to.
Yeah. There we go. Share on a page you manage. So you'd want to select this guy right here, and then it will give you the drop down of all the different pages that you manage. So you can switch back and forth between personal or business pages. No problem. Great questions.
At all. That's why we started increasing the liquid. Now I'm wishing I hadn't done that.
I'm curious, for anyone out there, how many people are currently using Acuity? Is that usually the most common one? Or is there any systems outside of Acuity that people really like right now on their scheduling side? No, I know you're a big Acuity fan. Let's see. Curious if anyone has, we've looked at a handful of other systems. I think, House Call Pro is probably one of the better ones generally. We've been kind of looking at a lot of these ones to give more of a real estate specific focus for our own system here, just with some of those nuances we covered. Correct, Molly. It will show that with that white label domain or a custom domain. If you buy a custom domain on that, that'll kind of all share with that link.
bookmeforphotographers.com.
I haven't seen this one yet. Thank
Me
you,
neither.
Bill. We'll take a look at it.
All right.
Perfect.
Any other questions that anybody wants to ask before we wrap up? Now's your chance. Oh, cool. As we mentioned, we'll be sending out a copy of the recording in the next 24 hours. So we'll also make it available in our resource center. So if you lose it or misplace it, you should be able to access it later on. And then we already did the survey right in the poll. So anybody that filled that out, really appreciate it. It'll just help us do better for next time. And we really, really appreciate everybody taking the time out of their day to join us today. It was fun getting to see a lot of the familiar faces, some new faces, and you know, we're super excited to hit the ground running for 2021 and appreciate all that you guys do for us.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. And Stephen, I'll reach out and follow up on a couple of those questions along with Brady and Jenny there and a couple others. And we've got our support chat too, if anyone has anything else that they didn't get a chance to ask.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Well, thank you so much, everybody. Appreciate you joining, and we hope you enjoy the rest of your holidays. Hope everyone takes care.